How many titles you win this week, Mr. Perfect Abs? Anyway, sorry.
0.
I'm kind of bitter right now. All right, so let's talk about this. I said the Bengals are interesting. So Jair Alexander's an enormously gifted corner. He's all banged up. Here comes Cincinnati. Packers are off that Steelers iconic game. And you know the Green Bay personnel well. This happens, as you know, Greg, in an NFL season. That a young, talented team, the locker room doesn't quite respect them as much as maybe they should. I look at Cincinnati at home this weekend, and I think, oh, this is a danger spot. This thing has upset written all over it. Am I nuts?
No, absolutely not. And neither are the Green Bay Packers. They're aware of that, but it's one thing to be aware of it, and it's another thing to go out there and not allow it to actually happen. I've been on several teams where we've been the favorite, and we've gone into situations where we knew we were the better team, but we played to the level of our competition.
Yep.
And we made it a dogfight and had a chance to either end up losing that game or winning it. And so when you think about the Bengals, this is not a bad team.
No.
Period. It's kind of like the Browns a couple years ago.
Yep.
Even last year when everybody was still questioning, well, I don't know how good the Browns really is. Are they still the Browns? No, they're not. And they believe that they weren't. The Cincinnati Bengals now believe that they are not the same Bengals. None of these guys on this team or on this roster experienced all those consecutive years of just losing. This is a fresh new roster of young guys with the quarterback at the helm that truly believes that he is the reason and one of the reasons for change within this organization. The Packers should be leery. And I think when I say leery, not concerned about the Bengals, but treating them like a favorable opponent, period.
Yeah. It's interesting. I never give smart people, if you're smart, you can't get conveniently airheaded, right? Like Aaron Smart. He starts flirting with the Steelers and Mike Tomlin. Now, let's think about this. What team in the NFL? Aaron won a Super Bowl with the best defense he ever had. The Packers were number 2 defense the year you guys won it. What team next year with a top defense and a Super Bowl winning coach and excellent receivers is going to have an opening at quarterback? I mean, Greg, I'm not naive. He threw that out there, right? The flirting, the goo-goo eyes. He threw that out. He wants Pittsburgh to know, right? I may be available.
Yeah, no, I think that's a stretch to think that he was actually thinking about that during the game. I think he respects Mike Tomlin. One thing I will say, and it is a potential possibility.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why is because of that moment. He respects smart coaches. He knows Mike Tomlin. That's never happened to Aaron Rodgers in his career, where he gets up to the line and he's about to get that free play and a coach calls timeout because no one wants to waste that timeout. But Mike Tomlin's like, I'm not going to give you this free play. I'll waste this timeout because it's going to benefit my team. It allows us to get the personnel that we want on the field, puts us in the best situation to defend against whatever it is you're going to present as a possible opportunity for you or leverage that you may have. So I think he respects that. And what you saw was, you got me. You lucky you got me. But I think even digging a little deeper into that, it would be a situation that I think he would consider. One, because of all of what you mentioned, but I think on top of that, knowing he trusts, or not so much trust, but he believes that Mike Tomlin is a smart coach. He believes that he's a coach and this is an organization that's not about rebuilding. The Pittsburgh Steelers is just not about rebuilding.
Yeah.
We saw that. That's why they still have Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback.
Yeah, they got good receivers, good linebackers. The O-line's rated higher than the experts would lead you to believe. So I said this is that we all age differently. You have aged very well because you eat carrots all day and do sit-ups. So you look fantastic. And me, not so much. I still like cocktails. But we all age differently. And Nick Saban has been very progressive with his offenses. Andy Reid is still one of the great play designers. Not all older coaches do that, as you know, or older players. Some guys never grow up. Pete Carroll's 70. He looks fantastic. But the defense, the schemes feel outdated. The analytic people for years have been ripping their offense as predictable and Jurassic. And I watched them last night. They feel like at times a bad team with a great quarterback, with a couple of really nice pieces, DK, Bobby, Russell, But I don't think they're close. I don't think they're a good football team. I think Russell puts a Band-Aid on a lot of their ills and problems. What did you see last night?
Well, I will say this. That's the case for a lot of teams in the National Football League. You unplug what we all deem to be the most important position in football, quarterback, and a lot of these teams don't look the same. So I will say the quarterbacks, pending how great they are, they Band-Aid or they mask a lot of your inabilities to be a really good team without them. Let's just say that. But the Seattle Seahawks, I think they are a good team. Do I think they are an elite team? I do not. Because even offensively, when we watch them with Russell Wilson, they don't have the consistency of actually putting the ball in the end zone, putting pressure on the defense or on their opponent to allow their defense to then play with an advantage. And then you look at them defensively and they just struggle. Teams kind of do what they want at will, and then sometimes they'll be great. There are just too many roller coaster peaks and valleys when you look at this team. And it's something that we never became accustomed to once Pete Carroll took over as head coach because of all those great defenses. Now it's a matter of, yes, we've caught up to the scheme, but you don't even have the personnel necessarily to fit what it is you're trying to stick with and what was previously successful.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. They don't have the personnel to do what some perceive as an outdated scheme. That's well put. By the way, you face Matt Stafford. I said this. We got to settle down on Matt Stafford. Your eyes don't lie. He's not Mahomes. He's not Aaron. He's not Kyler. He's not Lamar dynamic. He's not Josh Allen. He's got a good arm. He's been banged up a little. He's certainly talented. I'm not saying that. But my eyes don't lie. He's not super athletic. He's had some injuries. He misses open throws. He made a terrible mistake in the first half. He's very talented. But I think sometimes we just have decided to just put him in that top 5, and it's like, no, let's not do that. That's a very elite club. He can be at the top of tier 2. So I watched him last night, and it worries me that the Rams now have gone from the second most play action passes, very clever with Goff, a lot of tricks, to the second least. And they look kind of ordinary, that everything's just a straight drop. And I'm like, I think McVay's given up too much of his magic tricks, too much, and that Stafford deserves some of those. And that's sort of the calling card of McVay. I guess my point is, I like Stafford. You've seen him a lot. He needs help, too, with clever. I don't think he's Mahomes. I don't think he's Lamar.
Yeah, you're right. When you look at the Rams offense, and I'll go even to Green Bay, they run a very similar offense. We see a lot of action. We see a lot of run faking. We see a lot of RPOs.
Yes.
We see their run game involved in everything they do. That was the success of the Rams. That was the calling card of the Rams. No matter how great Jared Goff was playing, he still had that running game that was going to be the forefront of what they did. It was going to sell. That's why their offensive line loves the system, because they always were in an aggressive position as an offensive lineman, and you typically don't see that across the National Football League in today's game. They're always in a defensive mode, letting the defenders get the advantage and rush after them versus them being the aggressor. And what I think has gone kind of wrong or awry when you look at the Rams is you get a quarterback that has all these tools in his toolbox, and you haven't had that. And you just want to see what he has. And so you go away from what consistently allowed you to be successful, even with what you had at quarterback in Jared Goff and the things that he didn't do that you were able to mask because of the system. I think if they go back to what they do well, which is let their action game, their run game, be the kind of the mirroring factor of everything and match that with all that they do, Matthew Stafford is still going to be a great choice and a great option for them deep into the season. But to just put it on him, we've seen that before, and it's never been successful, even in Detroit when he had all those weapons.
Yeah. Good seeing you, Greg. Have a great weekend.
Absolutely. You too. Take care, guys.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.